Have you ever noticed how easily your peace can be taken from you? A delayed reply, a cold glance, a moment of silence where you expected praise. It's as if your happiness is at the mercy of others, dangling by a thread you didn't weave. But what if I told you that true freedom isn't found in gaining approval, but in no longer needing it? The Stoics understood this well. They knew that the more you rely on others for validation, the more you hand over the reins of your own life. And the worst part? You become a prisoner of expectations, expecting people to treat you a certain way, to acknowledge you, to understand you. But the world doesn't bend to your desires. And if your peace depends on it, you will always be at war with reality. In this video, we'll explore 11 timeless Stoic keys to emotional independence, principles that can make you unshakable no matter who comes or goes. Because when you learn this, you won't need anyone to complete you. You will be whole on your own. Let's begin. 1. Be the hero of your life. Have you ever waited for someone else to solve your problems? Depending on others is like sitting in a kayak, holding the paddle, yet refusing to row, convinced that someone will come along to push you to shore. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. Not because people don't care, but because this responsibility has always been yours. You already have the paddle. The only question is, when will you start rowing? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it simply, it's not what happens to you, not what you have, not who you are that makes you happy or unhappy. It's what you think. If you believe someone else must save you, you're placing chains on yourself. But if you change that mindset, you'll find freedom, strength, and wholeness from within. I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time when I felt lost, waiting for someone to pull me out of the emotional pit I was sinking into. But no one came. Then, one day, I had a realization. It was never anyone else's job to save me. That duty was mine. So, how do you take back control? First, own your choices. Stop waiting for change. Act. Even the smallest step is a step forward. Second, affirm your worth. Every day, remind yourself, I am enough. These words may seem small, but they will grow into unshakable confidence. The hero you seek has always been you. Now, will you rise? 2. Take control of your emotions. Have you ever felt like a pressure cooker about to explode? The heat rises, steam builds, and before you know it, everything is about to boil over. But here's the truth. If you don't control your emotions, they will control you. And when that happens, you hand over your inner peace to others, letting their words, actions, and opinions dictate your state of mind. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your mind is filled with frustration, anger, or resentment, what kind of day do you think you'll have? Chaos. But if you master your emotions, you master yourself. Aurelius faced war, betrayal, and unimaginable pressure, yet he remained calm. Not because the world was kind to him, but because he refused to let it dictate his inner state. He would tell you this: you decide which emotions rule your life. That power is yours. Don't waste it. Think about this. You're driving home after a long, exhausting day. Suddenly someone cuts you off and slams on their brakes. Your heart pounds, anger flares, and before you know it, you're yelling inside your car, as if that's going to change anything. Now, see it through a Stoic lens. You take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this worth ruining my peace over? The answer is no. You let it go, keep driving, and your serenity remains intact. That is control. And no, controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means managing them wisely. Here's how. First, pause before reacting. Imagine a red light. You don't hit the gas until it turns green, right? Do the same with your emotions. Count to 5, breathe, and give yourself a moment to think. Second, shift your perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Most of the time, the answer is no. Treat annoyances like background noise, unworthy of your energy. Lastly, find a healthy outlet. Go for a walk, write down your thoughts, or talk to yourself as a friend would. These small actions restore your power. You don't need anyone else to calm you down. When you learn to regulate your emotions, you become unshakable. The storm may rage, but you decide the course. 3. Learn to be with yourself. Being alone should be simple, right? But for many, it feels like anything but. It's like a phone desperately searching for an outlet, its battery in the red. You keep looking for something or someone to recharge you, forgetting one simple truth. You already have everything you need. Learning to be with yourself isn't a punishment, it's a superpower. Singer Budante once shared that the hardest part of fame wasn't the pressure, the interviews, or the exhausting tours. It was the silence. When the stage lights went out and the applause faded, he found himself alone in a quiet hotel room, feeling like he was falling into a void. He'd grab his phone, turn on the TV, anything to escape being alone with his thoughts. Then, one day, he realized the danger of this. Depending on others to feel good might seem harmless, but in reality, it's a trap. He knew he had to change. He learned to enjoy solitude, to listen to himself, to value his own presence. He stopped needing external validation to feel complete. Seneca once said, "The wise man is sufficient unto himself." But let's be honest, this isn't always easy. If you don't know how to be with yourself, every free moment feels like a battle. Think about it. When was the last time you had 5 quiet minutes and didn't immediately reach for your phone? And if you had an entire day alone, you'd probably fill it with chores or distractions, not because you need to, but because you're avoiding your own thoughts. So here's a challenge. Spend an entire day alone. No social media, no friends, no distractions, just you. Treat it like a date with someone special, because that someone is you. Take a walk, visit a place you've always wanted to go, have coffee while you read or write. Pay attention to how you feel in those moments. What you discover might surprise you. When you learn to be with yourself, the world changes. You stop searching for something or someone to fill an imaginary void, because you realize the void was never there. Everything you need has always been within you. Everything else? Just a bonus. 4. Let go of what weighs you down. Picture this. Your calendar is packed with commitments you don't even want to keep, but you say yes anyway. There's always someone who needs your help, a meeting you can't miss, a call that just can't wait. Some friends bring nothing but drama, draining your energy while giving little in return. Then there are your habits, the endless scrolling, the procrastination, the distractions that pull you away from what truly matters. And worst of all, your fears, the ones whispering that everything could go wrong if you dare to change. It's as if you're tangled in a net, unable to break free. But here's the truth. No one else put that net there. You're the one holding it in place. You're carrying more than you need, relationships that drain you, commitments that exhaust you, habits that keep you stuck. Imagine trying to run a marathon wearing a diving suit. How much longer are you going to keep this up? Letting go isn't easy. but it's one of the most liberating things you'll ever do. Think about the feeling of taking off tight shoes after a long day. That sigh of relief, that moment of pure freedom. Now multiply that by 1,000. That's what happens when you release toxic relationships, useless fears, and unproductive habits. Epictetus put it clearly: we control our actions, not what others do. As long as you hold on to things beyond your control, people's opinions, the past, the expectations placed on you, you're handing your power away. So ask yourself, who's in charge here? The answer should be you. How do you start letting go? Make 2 lists. On the first, write everything you can control: your actions, your mindset, your time. On the second, everything you can't: other people's choices, the past, the way the world works. Now look at that second list and say, this is not mine to carry. Let it go. And this isn't just about worries. Think about the relationships that leave you feeling empty. The friend who only appears when they need something. The partner who doesn't respect you. The people who never celebrate your wins. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them. It means you finally choose yourself. The same goes for habits. If something you do every day isn't bringing you closer to who you want to be, release it. Small changes add up, and when you finally start letting go, you'll realize you never needed anything outside of yourself to feel whole. Letting go isn't losing. Letting go is winning. Winning back your time, your clarity, your peace. So do yourself a favor. Drop what weighs you down and step into the freedom that has always been yours. 5. Lose the fear of rejection. There is a story of a small bird that lived in a golden cage. It had everything: food, water, safety. Yet every day it looked beyond the bars, longing for the open sky. Then one day, the door to the cage opened. And do you know what the bird did? Nothing. It remained frozen, trapped not by the cage, but by its own fear. How many times have you done the same? You hold back your opinions, stay silent in a meeting, or avoid taking action, not because you are incapable, but because you fear rejection. You hesitate, thinking, what if they disagree? What if I fail? But let me tell you something. Living in fear of rejection is not living. It is merely existing. Marcus Aurelius once said, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people whom fate brings you, but do so with all your heart. Do your best, be true to yourself, and release the weight of others' opinions, because in the end, what they think is not your concern. The more you seek approval, the more power you give away. But rejection is nothing more than an illusion. It only has meaning if you allow it to. So here's a challenge. Ask for a discount at a store, even without a reason. They will likely say no. And what happens? Nothing. Then take it further. Speak your mind without hesitation. Say no when you mean it. Act without seeking validation. Each time you face rejection, it loses its grip on you. And when that fear fades, something incredible happens. You become free. You no longer need anyone to confirm your worth, because you were always enough. 6. Learn to say no. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. Yet how often do you give it away without thinking? It's like hosting an exclusive party, but instead of a guest list, you let anyone walk in. They take your time, your energy, and by the end of the day, you're drained, wondering why there's nothing left for yourself. Listen carefully. Learning to say no isn't just a skill, it's a necessity. It's the filter that protects your energy, your focus, and your peace of mind. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to yourself, your goals, your well-being, your life. Seneca said it best: "Nothing is more valuable than your time, because it is the one thing you can never get back." So, why is it so hard to set boundaries? Because we fear disappointing others, even if it means betraying ourselves. I learned this lesson the hard way. A friend once asked me to help organize an event. I didn't have time, I didn't want to do it, but I said yes, out of fear. What will he think if I refuse? Days of stress followed, rearranging my schedule, sacrificing sleep. Then, on the day of the event, he asked me to cover unexpected costs. I didn't want to, but again I said yes. By the end of the night, I wasn't just exhausted, I was angry. Not at him, but at myself. I had let myself down by not saying no. Now, imagine this. A family member calls, asking you to take their car to the shop because they don't have time. What do? Before you answer, pause. Ask yourself, do I have the time? Do I even want to do this? If the answer is no, here's how to handle it. Be direct, but polite. "I'm sorry, but I can't do it today." No excuses, no over-explaining. If they insist, stay firm. "I understand this is important to you, but I'm not able to help this time." The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And the best part, you'll feel free. Many think saying no is selfish. It's not. It's self-respect. It's choosing what truly matters. So next time someone asks for your time, pause, take a breath, and say no without guilt. Trust me, you'll feel stronger, freer, and at peace with yourself. 7. Find peace in silence. Imagine a still lake at dawn. The water, smooth as glass, reflects a sky painted in soft hues of gold and pink. No wind, no noise, just the distant song of a bird breaking the silence. You sit by the shore, feeling the cool grass beneath your feet. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with crisp morning air, and as you exhale, every tension melts away. In that moment, the world fades. There is no rush, no worry, just you and the silence. I can picture Marcus Aurelius sitting by such a lake, far from the noise of Rome. No soldiers, no advisors, no weight of ruling an empire, just him, the water's reflection, and his thoughts. He might recall his own words: "Think of what you have, not what you lack." He understood something we often forget. External noise never truly stops. But when you find calm within yourself, nothing can disturb you. Let me tell you a real story. A successful businessman, admired and wealthy, had everything except peace. The constant noise of his life left him empty. So he did something drastic. He left it all behind. He retreated to a quiet monastery deep in the German woods, where, surrounded by silence, he finally found what he had been searching for: himself. But listen, you don't have to disappear into the mountains to find peace. You can cultivate it in your daily life. Here's how. First, spend a few minutes each day in silence. No distractions, no screens. Just sit, breathe, and observe your thoughts like passing clouds. Even 5 minutes of stillness can clear the mind. Second, practice mindful walking. Take a walk, not to get anywhere, but simply to be. Leave your phone behind. Feel your steps on the ground. Listen to the world around you. Let yourself exist in the moment. Silence isn't emptiness. It's where you find answers. And when you learn to embrace it, you realize you don't need anything or anyone to feel whole, because everything you seek has been within you all along. 8. Build strength in difficult times. Legend tells of a young warrior who, after a great storm, found his village in ruins. Homes were destroyed, fields flattened, and hope seemed lost. As he stood amidst the wreckage, he saw a fallen beam from the temple. He bent down, clenched his teeth, and tried to lift it, but it wouldn't budge. Exhausted, he fell to his knees, overcome with defeat. His teacher approached and said, "Do you think this is your end? No, this is your beginning. Adversity isn't here to destroy you. It's here to teach you." The warrior understood. If he trained, if he faced his struggles daily, he wouldn't just lift the beam, he would rebuild the entire village. Seneca compared adversity to fire. It tempers and strengthens, like a sword forged through heat and hammer blows. Every hardship, every setback is shaping you into something stronger, but only if you choose to endure. So how do you prepare for life's trials? Practice negative visualization. Imagine losing your job, facing a crisis, or hearing bad news. Ask yourself, what would I do? How would I respond? When you rehearse adversity in your mind, you reduce its power over you. True strength isn't avoiding struggle, it's meeting it with calm and courage. Like the young warrior, your strength is already within you. Now, will you rise to meet it? 9. Give meaning to what you do. Imagine reading a book where the protagonist lives an ordinary, repetitive life. The alarm rings, they rush through breakfast, work all day, come home exhausted, collapse on the couch, and repeat the cycle. Would you find that story compelling? Of course not. But now, ask yourself, isn't that how most people live? Here's the hard truth. If you're just surviving, you're not really living. And you don't need anyone else to give your life meaning. That's your mission. Living without purpose is like sailing without a compass. You drift, but never truly arrive. Worse, you let others dictate your direction. Isn't it time you took control? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do every act in your life as though it were the last thing you do." Even as an emperor, he understood that true fulfillment comes not from status or obligation, but from acting with purpose. If he could find meaning in his daily tasks, so can you. So, how do you start? Simple. List what you enjoy doing. Then, write down what you're naturally good at. Now, connect the two. What aligns? That's your starting point. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. When you live with intention, even small actions become meaningful. You stop waiting for direction because you are the one choosing the path. And that's when you realize you never needed anyone else to show you the way. 10. Let your happiness depend on you. Imagine your happiness as a garden, a place full of vibrant flowers, towering trees, and peaceful pathways. But like any garden, it needs care. If you don't tend to it, who will? Neglect it, and weeds take over. Ignore it, and it withers. The same is true for your happiness. It's not something you find outside of yourself, nor something others can give you. It's something you cultivate every single day. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Yet, we live in a world that constantly tries to sell us happiness, promising that success, luxury, or external validation will fulfill us. But it's all an illusion. Happiness has never been in things. It has always been within you. So how do you nurture it? Start small. Take 5 minutes a day to write down 3 things you're grateful for. A warm cup of coffee, a quiet moment, the feeling of sunlight on your face. These small joys, when noticed, transform how you see life. And don't forget self-care, not as a luxury, but as a responsibility. Move your body. Read something that enriches your mind. Rest without guilt. No one else will do this for you. It's yours to own. Happiness isn't found, it's built. And once you understand that, you'll realize you don't need anyone or anything else to feel whole. You are enough. 11. Strengthen your confidence. Let me tell you a secret that changes everything. Confidence is like a muscle. If you don't train it, it weakens. But when you work on it, it becomes your greatest strength. And the best part? You don't need anyone else to give it to you. You already have everything you need within you. The only thing missing? Starting to use it. Picture this. You're about to present a project. Your heart races, doubts creep in. What if I mess up? What if they don't like it? Now imagine flipping the script. Before stepping forward, you remind yourself, I've worked hard for this. I know my worth. That small shift changes everything. Your voice steadies, your posture straightens. Because confidence doesn't guarantee perfection, it gives you the strength to try. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth lies in his ability to be satisfied with himself." True confidence comes from acting in alignment with your values, not from waiting for external approval. Let me share a story. A young athlete wanted to compete in a national race. His friends told him he wasn't ready, that he should wait. But he didn't need their belief. He believed in himself. He trained relentlessly, facing his fears and insecurities daily. On race day, he didn't win, but he gained something far greater. Proof that his worth wasn't tied to the outcome, but to the effort he gave. Now, let's talk about you. How many times have you held back because you doubted yourself? Here's how to change that. First, practice self-affirmation. Each day, write down something you're proud of, even small victories. I spoke up today. I followed through on my goal. These simple reminders build trust in yourself. Second, step outside your comfort zone. You don't have to climb a mountain. Start small. Speak up in a meeting. Make a decision without seeking approval. Introduce yourself to someone new. Each time you do, your confidence grows. Remember this: you don't need anyone's validation to trust in yourself. You are enough. And once you understand this, you'll realize the most important person in your life has always been you. I invite you to embrace the power of standing on your own. Every choice you make toward emotional independence uncovers the strength that has always been within you. True freedom begins when you stop seeking outside validation and start trusting yourself. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I am strong." Let's see who the true Stoic warriors are. If this video resonated with you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. More wisdom, more power. Your journey is just beginning. Until next time, stay strong and keep walking your own path.